Shalom, shalom, everyone, and welcome to 50 Days of Empowerment. Today is day 10 as we count the days to Shavuot, and we are exactly 1/5 of the way there. Today's passage of study is out of Acts chapter 4. We're going to pick up with verse 13 in just a moment. And this is the story of where Shimon Kepha and Yochanan were going into the temple through the gate beautiful, and there was a lame man there begging for alms. And Shimon Kepha said this to him. He said, "Silver and gold I do not have, but what I have I'm going to give to you. In the name of Yeshua, Messiah of Nazareth, rise up and walk." And he took him by the hand and he pulled him up, and immediately his feet and his ankles received strength, and he went into the temple walking and leaping and praising Elohim. Well, that made those who were in charge of the temple angry, and they arrested them and brought them before the council. And we'll pick up with verse 13. It says, "And seeing the boldness of Kepha and Yochanan, and perceiving that they were unlearned and ordinary men," well, they were filled with the Spirit of Yah, "they marveled, and they recognized that they had been with Yeshua. And seeing the man who had been healed standing with them, they could not contradict it. But when they had commanded them to go aside out of the council, they consulted with one another, saying, 'What shall we do to these men? For indeed, that an outstanding miracle has been done through them is apparent to all those dwelling in Jerusalem, and we are unable to deny it.'" This was an undeniable miracle. "But in order that it spreads no further among the people, let us strongly threaten them to speak no more to anyone in this name. And they called them and commanded them not to speak at all, nor teach in the name of Yeshua. But Kepha and Yochanan answering said to them, 'Whether it is right in the sight of Elohim to listen to you more than to Elohim, you judge.' And so they have a strong, worry-free witness." This is the verse I want to emphasize today. "For it is impossible for us not to speak of what we saw and heard." This speaks of a compelling. They were filled with the Spirit of Yah. They had a bold, worry-free witness. They had a deep inward compelling. They had to speak of what they saw and what they heard. They had to speak about Yeshua. They had a motivation, an inspiration, a drive, so to speak. It was a compelling, and it's the same power that comes upon believers when we believe in Yeshua and pray and ask the Father to fill us with his Spirit. He gives us a bold, worry-free witness and a compelling. The fear goes away, and the anxiety goes away, and the timidity goes away, and we are transformed. I think about Shimon Kepha and how before the day of Shavuot, before the execution of Yeshua, Shimon Kepha denied the master 3 times. He was fearful, he was anxious, he was worried. But after the day of Shavuot, when he was filled with the Spirit, he was transformed. He began to speak with boldness and with clarity. He had a compelling, there was a force of power within him driving him, so to speak about Yeshua. And so he says here, it's impossible for us not to speak of what we have seen and what we have heard. And so that same force of power is available to every believer to be transformed. And Yah empowers us beyond our own natural limitations. And he gives us that compelling to where Yeshua is at the forefront of our conversation. We love to talk about Yeshua. People who are filled with the Spirit have to talk about Yeshua. And that's where we need to get as believers. We need to be filled and refilled with the Spirit of Yah to where we have boldness and clarity and strength in our conversation and a compelling that moves us, that inspires us, that motivates us, that drives us to talk about Yeshua. Abba, we are so thankful for these very powerful and encouraging words today. We ask that you would fill us afresh, fill us and refill us today. And we pray that we might have boldness and a worry-free witness. Give us that deep inward compelling that moves us, that motivates us, that inspires us, that drives us to talk about Yeshua. And may Yeshua always be at the forefront of our conversation. May we always take great joy in taking every opportunity to talk about Yeshua. All these things today we ask in the matchless name of your Son and our Master and Mashiach, Yeshua. Amen and amen.